Hi, and welcome to another video in the series about the MySword Android Bible application. Last time I went over the main overview of the application, installing and things like that. We also went over the top row of these icons, how I got the black background and the way that these buttons look. If they look different than yours, I show you how to get that in the preferences. Right now, what I'd like to go over is the remaining buttons down at the bottom, and we'll look at some of the preferences, and we'll call it at that point. And I believe in my next video, we're going to get into, how to use the actual application to do word studies and things like that. I'm going to show you the power of this particular application to do, some pretty decent Bible studies. So down at the bottom left, this is your back button and your forward button. This is much like using an internet browser. So, if I'm at Isaiah and I go to Jeremiah 5 or Lamentations 5, let's say I want to go back to the one that I was at, I can hit that and, it jumps me right back to where I was. But say, hey, a few times ago I was, at another passage, I can't remember what it was, but I think it was in a particular book. What you can do is you can actually hold down this button and it will show you a history of about 65. And it will actually, keep the translations and everything. So if you remember my video before, we were doing compare. I was showing you how to use compare and things like that, and parallel. And you can go back to that and it'll show you parallel version for 1 Kings 1:1. So that's pretty nice. Do the same thing with the forward button, long press on it, and you can go back and you can see all the different, things that you were looking at in the past. This right here is similar to the bookmarks. In fact, that is the bookmarks. So yesterday, or correction, earlier, my earlier video, I was talking about these up here, and I didn't remember how to change them because I was long pressing and they weren't doing anything. So this is how you fix that. So they show up at the top here, but say I wanted Isaiah 11:1. It turns out that's exactly right. So this is where it gets that from. You can make your changes here. You can edit, remove, replace the bookmark, save it. You can even export it out, I believe, copy them out. So that's really nice. Save, and I'm not sure what this is. I guess it flips your list here. So that's pretty neat. Do I want to discard changes? Yes. So here is a highlight function. So let's say I'm on verse 5 here, and I want to highlight this particular verse. And you can see up here that I've got verses 1, 2, and 3 highlighted. What is interesting, let's see. So the highlights go throughout your different versions. So it doesn't matter what version it is, your highlights are showing on all versions. So it doesn't matter what version you switch to, your highlights will travel with you. But say I wanted to highlight verse 5 here. You can see I clicked on verse 5, and you can see that it is highlighted, but not in any particular colors, just a gray highlight to show you that you've got this verse selected. And you can see how I can change it here. So when you want to highlight a verse, just click on the verse and click on this right here. This is your highlight. And you can choose the color that you want it to be, and say you want to make it green. And you don't want it to be just verse 8. You want to do 8 through 10. You can come down here, choose 10, and now verses 8 through 10 are highlighted in green. So that's really nice. If you decided that you made a mistake and you don't want to highlight that particular verse, what you can do is come down here to remove the highlight, hit range 8 through 10, and now look, 8 through 10 has no highlight. So that's a pretty nice thing. Search is a search function. It tells you to make create an FTS. I forgot what that even stands for, but it's to create something to allow you to search quickly. And you'll find that this works fairly well. There's some issues that I have with it. You can do different types of full text search. If you do exact, sometimes it does not work, but you can put the version that you want to look in. Say you want to search the King James for, you know, the word church. You can do that. Type it in here. If you want to look just in the New Testament, there you go, and it will pop up all of the different places that verse, or that search returns all the results, and you can actually click on each individual one from there. I'm not really sure what these buttons are. I haven't really messed with them that much, or any, to be honest. But apparently this is, to do a search, you can utilize the clipboard here. But I don't use it too terribly much, but it will keep a list of all of your search history. So let's go back. Here is the settings button, and on the settings button, you've got About, which tells you the premium and the deluxe features. You can look and see what they are. You can find out about the module, the language. You can do some things about word frequency and occurrence. These are all things that I don't mess with. Make a donation. You can copy or export verses. Yeah, I'll get to that here shortly. I guess you can print. I've not really used that function. You can do find and page. Preferences. You can go to compact mode, which, to be honest, I haven't really done that, but it basically makes it much cleaner, so that you can not have the big toolbars above and below what you're reading, if you're just doing some serious reading there. I'm just going to hit the back button to see if it will. It is not. So let's see if I can go back. Here we go, non-compact mode. So that's bringing me back to my full version here. Preferences, help. Here's your download modules. If you want to change the path, you can change the path, but I would just choose the path once you're downloading it. If you want it to be different, I would change it there, but once you do it, I wouldn't really mess with changing it. You can back up data and restore data here, but like I was saying before, all you really have to do is just copy the folder and then move the files over, like a simple, almost like Windows. You can even utilize Windows to do this. It's not difficult. But let's take a look at the preferences. Let's see, the display settings. You can go in there and you can see that there are quite a few different settings within that. The Android theme, you can do dark or even a dark material theme. Let's see what the difference is here. Yeah, it's got the white, or the white text with this bluish background. Let's go back and see what the other one looked like. I think mine was a dark holographic theme. Yeah. So that's just a matter of preference. Let's see, there's color, there's text size. Let's go out and I'll show you text size. So you can probably change this, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to actually touch the screen, and I'm going to pinch to zoom and use pinch to zoom out and zoom in. That is only something that you can do within the higher versions. I'm not really sure which one, but Premium or Deluxe or both. But you do have to pay to get that particular feature. Otherwise, you're pretty much just stuck with, I think, a few different settings. But I do like that you can basically move it to the size that you want, depending on what you're doing. Let's go back to preferences, see if there's anything else here. your buttons at the top or the bottom, the colors, the languages, the pop-ups, whether you want them to pop up or not. Cross references, you can do that in here. You can pick your default maps, your default Bibles in here, default Strongs. There's all kinds of different things. You can do the lemma, the dictionaries, main dictionaries. There are a lot of different settings here. This is your settings file, so once you get your settings the way that you want, they are stored in a settings folder, or correction, a settings file in your file explorer under the MySword folder. And that's the file that you want to make sure that you grab along with your Bibles and everything else. I would just copy the entire MySword folder from your phone to use, for backup. But that's enough from the preferences here. This is a copy function. So there's one thing, if you're using Twitter, like say you're wanting to tweet, or Facebook, or anything in social media, or even notes that you're making on your phone, if you're wanting to copy and paste them, that will do a quick copy. And what it will do is it'll actually put some formatting that's pretty aggravating as far as posting at Twitter, because Twitter has a character limit. So it puts some asterisks and some things in there that I don't really care for, that I end up having to go and edit out. There's another way to copy, and I believe that is in here. You can share content, and this will actually let you choose more than one verse. When I click this, it only chooses verse 7. So if I'm wanting to do 7 through 9, I have to do this, paste in the other program, and etc. But if I come here to share, I can pick, all right, so I want to do 7 through 9. I don't want there to be any verse numbers. You can change that there. But let's move on. This is up and down. I believe this is just navigation inside the inside the Bible application or whatever, instead of, you can use your finger to do this, or a mouse like I'm using now. This is how to get to your Bible. This is your commentary. These are the things that are up here, basically. So W is dictionary. This is notes. All right. So notes are nice, because what you can do is you can come in here and say, okay, well, I'm reading verse 7 in Isaiah 11, and I want to say something about it. You can hit add. And what's nice, and I'm not sure, this may be just part of the premium version as well, I can't remember. But what's nice is you have the Bible over here to the right, and you can come over here and start making notes. Let me close this out. It's nice, it tells you your date. If you type in, say let's say Isaiah, well, that said Isaac, didn't it? Boy, it'd be nice if I could see. Okay, it did say Isaiah, so we'll say Isaiah 11. All right. Not sure why my screen is blue. There we go. So what's neat is you can come over here and choose detect verses, and it will put a hyperlink on that, so that when you're reading this particular note sometime in the future, instead of having to go, okay, well, let me browse out here and find Isaiah 11, when you're reading this particular note, you can just click on it and it will take you there. So you can put Isaiah 11:2 or whatever, and that's really nice. But you can do links, you can put pictures. This is basically paragraph formatting and things of that nature. And this is a nice thing to have, because if you're using this like me, if you're using this as your main Bible, you can create your notes, and you will actually have a, let me cancel, do you want to discard changes? You can go through here and see your different notes, and what you can do is when you're looking at this in the Bible, you'll see that you have a note right here, and here's another note and another note. So, this is really nice. Journal, I believe that's note diary. This is not something that I use. I think these are all things that they show you how to do, or whatever. I am not familiar with this at all, so I guess you can do church notes and all that good stuff. I don't use it. This is various books, I believe. So these are your things that I told you about, your atlases, your maps, things of that nature. And finally, I guess this is a different list than this. You can format, which is neat. So if I wanted to, here, let me go back to the Bible and say I wanted to take this verse right here. What in the world? Let's say I wanted to take this verse and I wanted to format it. So let's say I wanted to say, take this particular word. So what I've done is I've put brackets around it, and I wanted to bold it and italicize it and underline it. And you can change the color of that word. You can highlight that word, and you can even put a box around that word. So you can do that for various things, so that when you come in here and look at it, hey, guess what? When you're reading verse 22 here, you can see that this particular word has a lot of different formatting around it to draw your attention to it or whatever. So I'm going to undo that formatting. So I guess you can even cross through it or whatever. So I just clicked that and it undid all the formatting. So that's pretty nice. Say this particular, you wanted to look up anything with the word, this particular word in here, the. So what it did is it actually highlighted all of the word the in this particular passage, or basically all the time. So if you're doing a word study on, the occurrences of the word, church in the New Testament, you can highlight that word every single time. So what you can do, if you don't want it to be on there, and you can tell it to come in, pink or whatever. But when you don't want it to show, you hit hide, and now it's gone. So that's a pretty neat function. Let's see. You can do text to speech, but to be honest with you, it's pretty bad. It's nowhere near the standard of Google Now, Bixby, or Siri. It's pretty old school. So I would say that that's only for those who have an impairment or something like that, that they need that to be read to them. It's really not that great. Split view panes. This is pretty interesting, and this is something that you can only get if you have one of the paid versions. And to be honest with you, unless you're going to put this on a tablet or, like I suggested before, put this on a computer screen, this is not going to be very beneficial to you. But for this video, I'll go ahead and show you what it is. Say you want to, let's see, we can do, 2 rows, 2 columns. So you can see I have 4 different windows, and I can actually go in here and say, you know what, I don't want this to be a dictionary, I want this to be another Bible. So I can come right here, change it, and I want this to be, the Hebrew interlinear. Okay. And what's nice is you can actually cause these windows to sync. So like if you click on this, it would open up in another window as well. Yeah, there you go. You can hit sync. And if you want to go to one particular window, say, hey, I want to look at this a little bit bigger, you click that, it goes full screen. You can go back to it this way. But you can hit to where these windows sync. You can even unsync them. Say, hey, you know, if I move something over here, I don't want it to move over there. I'm not entirely sure how that works because it's not something that I've used a lot. But you know, you can do 2 columns. You can do, you know, 3 columns. There's all kinds of different scenarios here. 2 rows by 3 columns. So if you just absolutely got to have a ton of stuff open, you know, there you go. But let's do this. Let me see if I can make this smaller. And now when I go back, it kind of fits in that little window. But it's pretty neat. If you really need to have some information out and looking at several things at one time. But like I said, it's really not going to be very beneficial. I mean, here you've only got 4 words, barely. You've got Vayamel, Him, and yeah, you can't even see the actual transliteration in the English here. But so it's not going to be very good if you have a small screen. But boy, if you have a big screen, then it would be pretty nice. So I think that's it for this particular video. Again, if this was helpful to you at all, then please let me know, comment, subscribe, and share. Well, that is small text right there. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.